I want to discuss about the topic, does God exist? So I divided my presentation into 4 parts. First, what the God is, so definition of God, and next, arguments for God's existence, and third, challenges for us to believe God, and lastly, quiz. So first, what is God? According to the Oxford Dictionary, God is the being or spirit that is believed to have created the universe. And we often define God as an eternal and all-powerful creator, which exists beyond time and space. And people often describe God as a personal or universal force. And next is argument for God's existence. There are basically 3 arguments. First is cosmological argument, next is teleological argument, and lastly it is moral argument. So first is cosmological arguments. People like Thomas Aquinas proved the existence of God into 3 steps using cosmological arguments. First, the universe had a beginning, and next, everything that begins to exist has a cause. So the universe must have a cause beyond itself, and we identify this cause as God. And next, this is teleological argument. William Paley once stated that the order and complexity we see in the universe suggests that it was designed by an intelligent creator called God. And lastly, it is moral argument. Immanuel Kant once mentioned that all humans have a sense of right and wrong, and this universal moral law suggests there is a moral lawgiver called God. So you might have a question now, why did people start to believe God? Well, first, people needed explanations for natural phenomena such as raining or lightning. Also, they desired for social order and morality. And lastly, they needed cultural transmission through storytelling. But not every people think that God exists. So let's find and figure out some challenges for us to believe God. First is intellectual and philosophical challenges. So it is common for us to have questions about God, especially when we are facing difficult or hard problems. Also, lack of evidence. So we find it difficult to believe something like God without concrete and specific evidence. Next, it is emotional and spiritual challenges. So when we suffer difficulties like illness, loss, or hardship, it can test our faith and make us harder to believe God. Also, the fear of the unknown, fear of judgment, or fear of what God might ask us can hinder our faith. And lastly, it is a problem of evil. So this is basically a logical problem. So if God knows about evil and has the power to prevent it and desires to do so, why does evil exist? So the answer for this question is that God is not truly all-powerful or all-good or all-knowing, or that God does not exist. So this is the end of my presentation, and do you have any questions? If not, I'll move on.
So that was your conclusion? Or?
So I just kind of like showed you like 2 opinions.
Oh, the challenges?
Yeah, the
Okay.
challenges and some people who agree that
Okay.
God exists. First question is, why do people start to believe God? To explain natural phenomena. Yeah. And next, what are some challenges for us to believe God? Right. The fear of unknown, fear of the fear of judgment, and yeah. Before I really end my presentation, I have a quote. So it is by Nietzsche, a famous scholar and philosopher. So he once mentioned that God is dead, God remains dead, and we have killed him. And this does not directly mean that God is dead, but means that due to modern technology and modern science and development of technology, our true belief to religion has decreased. Thank you for listening to my presentation.